lane fast, call it high speed. I've been working hard, yeah, I've been working nightly. If you think you'll win, not likely. I be taking shots, yeah, cold-blooded, icy. Watching numbers grow is what I call sightseeing. In the front row, run it up when they hype me. The following grows, they know how to ignite me. Call me CEO, I've been running right, see. And I ain't playing games, I create my own lane, making pleasure out of pain, turning losses into gains. I'm the boss, I'm making change. I've been rocking this exchange, popping off and risking things. Gonna make a f***ing name. I just wanna be famous, but I don't want that cheap fame. No, I'm not that vain. I just wanna be greatness.
Everyone, my name's Joe, and I'm the Kentucky Atheist. Today, me and Azho64 are going to be responding to a video on the channel RanomizedChaos by the user Corky Rooster 09er, and we're gonna kind of get into that in a second. This video is just our opinions. It's in no way a call to action for anyone to go harass or bother this person. It's just a response to a video that Azho found on Corky's channel here, and we felt like responding to it. So please leave Corky alone. Hey, what's up with you today, Azho?
Not much. Trying to get over a sinus infection. It's tired from our members only stream last night, but I'm much better, and I still love you, Will. But yeah, sure. This it's kind of funny because this guy popped up on my radar by suggestion. You know, I don't even know why. And I clicked on it just from the title of it, and you know, everybody will see the title. You know, once it went in there, I was the only one that made a comment, and as everybody, you know, we'll see, it kind of escalated a little bit, and I don't think.
What we're going to do today, we're going to respond to Corky's video that is titled "The Bible Proven Scientifically True, Part 1." There'll be a link in the description for the video if you want to go check that out, and we're going to go through each claim that he makes and respond to them in order. And we'll also talk a little bit about our interactions with Corky on his channel. With that, let's get started.
And it's Tuesday, damp, rainy, kind of a cozy morning. I'm sitting here drinking my coffee at 8:10 in the morning. So I'm doing a lot of videos about atheism and Christianity and the Bible and all that. And so I did a video on asking, why do atheists continuously look at all the videos and evidence, and look at Christian side, look at agnostic side and atheist side and Gnostic side? Why do they even care? Why would they look it up? Why would it matter to them? And
I think here in a minute, whenever we get into the comments, we're going to find that he doesn't know what those words mean.
Right.
And we'll put the actual definitions on screen when we get there. And that's the only reason we're not going to talk about this part here. But we'll talk about it here in a minute.
It's still kind of soon, but I appreciate the feedback. It's really great to hear different opinions. One thing I have noticed is that the opinions vary greatly. There are people coming on saying, well, it means this and it means that, and you have the wrong idea. I've always stated that atheists don't believe in God. And somebody comes on, you have the wrong idea about atheism. It means they don't believe in God. That's exactly what I said, so we're on the same page. But that's common when you do YouTube videos. People watch your YouTube videos and they don't get anything out of it, and they go off on a tangent.
Now, I want to say something about that. And, you know, when you make YouTube videos, it's not you lecturing to your audience, or at least it's not supposed to be. I mean, like, it's an interaction. It's you're portraying information, and if they're not receiving it well, it's because you're not communicating it well. That's the, you know, he's blaming this because people, you know, say that he's not clear about the points he's making. And, you know, that's maybe something more of a him thing, and he's trying to blame it on his audience. And you can't do that. That's not how you get people to enjoy your content. You know, they want to feel like they have a voice. That's what people like about a good YouTube channel. What do you think, Az?
The problem I have with some of what he said can be applied and is applied, with 40,000 denomination of Christianity alone. They don't even agree with what they believe or what they think or, sort of thing. And we are all human beings, regardless. We're not going to agree. Everything he said was atheism is one thing. And most atheists will tell you it answers one question and one question only, whether we believe in a God or not.
If you caught it, he actually said, and I'm glad that I got the feedback back. I got a wide array of feedback. But then he says, but all this feedback that disagrees with me is just wrong.
Right. Well, but without doing the self-analysis or religious, analysis.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter if you're a Muslim, a Hindu, a Buddhist, a Christian, or an atheist, or a nun.
Yeah. They all believe different stuff. Yeah.
Right. Exactly. We are people. We have different jobs, different hobbies. And he's trying to lump atheists in like this is a bad thing to have different opinions.
Yeah. All right. Well, let's see what else he has to say.
If he talks.
Normal, so I'm used to that. But one thing I wanted to say is that I had someone today who said, I am an atheist. I do not believe in God because there's zero evidence. And yet my response to them was, there's more evidence on my side than there is on atheist side.
The claim that there's more evidence on the theist side than there is the atheist side is kind of a weird way to say it when the burden of proof is clearly on the theist making the claims. And it's not to say that there aren't things that people point to and say they're evidence for Christianity. And he actually does this later, but it's just that none of that evidence is very good evidence, right, Az?
Yes. I mean, you said it, perfectly. The whole thing is you can have 1,000 pieces of evidence, and if it's bad evidence, it doesn't, amount to nothing. What he needs to worry about, and I think I even said this in the comment that got the interaction between me and him started, was you may have evidence, but it's not good evidence, for your position. And I believe, if I remember right, and I might be, once we, if we do, look at some of the comments that, were put in the chat later, I think I did point out that, that he conflates evidence with proof.
Yeah.
The two words are different. They mean different things. And I don't know if it's just a slip of a tongue on his part, and I'll give him the benefit of the doubt, because we're not here to destroy or attack him as a person. It's just, and I'll use Brandon from Mind Shift's, thing. I'm not here to attack the person, but bad ideas. Yeah. And this is exactly why we do this. And this kind of answers what he said earlier. Why, if we don't believe in God, do we do what we do? Yeah. Sort of thing. So, Corky, nothing personal, but, it's your ideas. I don't need personal attacks, to have a decent discussion.
Yeah. Well, the first claim is, not as significant as the rest. So let's see what else he says.
Right. I agree.
Absolutely zero evidence that atheist is the way to go. Look at the Bible. The Bible, which is a Christian book, which atheists generally, I've never heard an atheist not say this, say it's just a random book that somebody wrote. It has
He makes the claim here that atheists say he makes the straw man out of atheists, and that's silly. Again, just to say that atheists say it's this. I think we acknowledge historically, its significance in literature and things, but the reason that we dismiss its claims, and it's not atheists, this is scholars and every other sect of Christians other than your particular favorite flavor,
Right. And the thing I would point out is, I don't know if anybody knows who, and I hope I pronounce his last name because I love his channel and I follow him religiously. Pun intended, I guess. But Dan McClellan, who is a theist, but he's a Bible and a religion scholar.
I'll link Dan in the description.
Yeah. Yeah, that probably would be nice, sort of thing. But what Corky doesn't realize is the Bible is the claim. It's not a proof. It's just like apologia, and as for the Bible tells me so jingle, or how many times you've heard an atheist say, a book says a thing, especially I say that a lot. A book says a thing, it's got to be true. So you can't use the Bible to prove the Bible. That is circular reasoning, which is a fallacy. But it'd be no different than me saying I believe in Santa Claus and want to use, the Christmas Story or, myriad of movies or books to prove. See, right there. Santa's
for sure. Look at the Bible is probably one of the weakest claims that apologists or, internet theists make. But you want to continue on and see what else he's got to say?
Well, the last thing I want to say would be is, I almost feel like we're, like stopping, but, wait, a lot more than maybe we should. But the thing about it is he's saying things that are so ridiculous that need to be addressed. And once again, so many theists do the same exact thing, say the same exact things. And this is not, I don't know if we said this earlier in the beginning of this, but we're not necessarily even, attacking Corky's ideas, but theists who think like Corky in general.
I'm trying to help correct people like Corky.
Right. I totally agree. And that's, why we do this. Not that, it matters, and there's no law that says if you don't believe in God, you can't, because for me, theology, even after I, became an atheist, once I got over being pissed off at what religion did to me and, got over the threat of hell, which is a common thread amongst atheists, is theology is a hobby of mine. And, but I've got at least 2 bookcases here of theological books, not just atheist. I've got books from when I was a theist from, Josh McDowell, Ron Rhodes, also, I can go on and on and on. So theology is a hobby. It's not my lifestyle. I don't wake up every morning and say, hey, I'll call Kentucky Atheist and say, let's go destroy some, theist, belief system. That's not the point of this,
No. All right. So moving on.
So nothing to do with God. It is just a book of fluff. It's fairy tales. Okay. Even scientists that are agnostic, scientists that are atheists, believe that the Bible's real. They believe that it was written 2,000 to 3,000 years ago. They believe that.
Citation needed. I don't know of any scientists that say that in the scope of their science, and the ones that pretend to be scientists and say that, like your James Torrs and whatever, if they're a scientist and they're speaking on that subject, then they're speaking outside their field anyway. So why don't we look at what the scholars have to say rather than what some random scientist from the Creation Institute has to say?
Right. I totally agree. You can't just make a claim and, keep on going and think, okay, that's my, okay, that's evidence. I almost said proof. Sorry. Evidence of or good evidence even, or bad evidence of any sort. Just claiming something and, be like saying, everybody, believes the earth is flat. That's just simply not true. It's, show me where the scientists think that. And actually to more scientists who are theists agree with a lot of positions that atheists, believe in. Like I just named one, Dan McClellan, and that's what I can respect people like that. He doesn't have to agree with me. He doesn't have to give away his beliefs. But he chooses his reputation as a scholar, as, I can just imagine how many years this guy has, among other ones, that put in the study, the money, and to allow their beliefs to get in the way. And there are, obviously many theist, scholars supposedly that do that or claim to be scholars. Ken Ham, even if it's a middle degree, Ken Hovid, going on and on and on. The majority of them agree with our side than they would with what he is saying, and not 100%. And I'm not saying 100%, But a lot of them,
Yeah.
say the Bible is not inerrant.
The
Not
consensus
true.
is not on the side of a especially a young Earth creationist Christian.
Right. Thank you. That's why
Yeah.
you're better at articulating, especially since you don't have a sinus infection and your hat's turned backwards. That makes you think quicker. Aerodynamics.
Yeah. All right. You ready to move on?
Yes, sir.
They don't think it's just a random book. It's obviously a religious book, and it's also a history book. And
it's not a history book, and no one says it's a history book except for Bible fundamentalists.
Right. Isn't the old adage, there's a bit of truth in every lie? And I'm not saying the Bible's a total lie, but I'm going to say it, if it offends theists, I'm sorry, but, it was written by goat herders. There's many passages in the Bible that are talking about the apostles being uneducated, which I would presume means that they couldn't even, write, which was common back then.
places and things that were in the Bible, of actual physical, tangible places, have been proven, and there's even temples and stuff that are mentioned in the Bible from thousands of years ago that have been found in ruin, which they still have columns, they still have the general shape.
So, just because the people and places in the Bible, some of them are real, doesn't mean that every claim the Bible makes is true. This is also kind of like a form of circular reasoning where he's saying, the Bible is true because there's true things in the Bible,
Right.
But in a way, I don't know. He's bad reasoning is what I attribute that to.
Yeah. I mean, it's like, the old adage, and I think I said this earlier, in one of our 52 takes, that with every lie, there are bits of truth in there. That'd be no different.
Yeah.
And this is what my point, and I probably didn't word it very well, especially, not filling up, 100%. That if I, wrote a book and said, I live in Indiana, I live not near, but, there's a town called Morocco. It's really small. And being from Indiana, there's Dan Quayle. If I, wrote this in a book that these two things were in there and try to say that was some holy book, or even just, a work of nonfiction of regardless of what it is, 5,000-10,000 years from now, they are, find this, these places, doesn't mean that I was a prophet or that I knew anything, that anybody else didn't know, or that a person, living around that time would know. That's just pure nonsense,
And it also just completely dismisses the literary style of the time in the place.
Right, exactly.
How people were taught to write stories was to take literal things they knew about and then embellish and exaggerate. So not only is his reasoning completely horrible here, but it's also that he's completely disagreeing with the consensus of scholars and everything else.
Right.
So.
And then dismissing the fact that there's no secular writings about, say events like the resurrection. You think something like the resurrection and when, if Jesus, hypothetically playing devil advocate, he popped up, the graves opened up, you think somebody wrote down that, hey, we got zombies everywhere.
Yeah.
Or, if I remember right, I'd have to reread it because it's been a while since I've been dealt with that. It's just the resurrection in general. But didn't the earth stop or something? If that would have happened, everybody would have been dead, literally, and things like that. So, yeah, there might be some truths in there, but there's a lot of nonsense. Talking serpents, talking donkeys,
Yeah.
Unicorns, depending on what version, King James version, stuff that we know isn't true. So you have to overlook a lot of the nonsense to say, well, the Bible's 100% true. It's not.
And essentially the argument he's making here is that, well, because this place that's mentioned in the Bible is an actual place, then all those things you just said are true.
Right. And
that it doesn't follow. It's a nonsense.
Yeah, they did find something they think is called Jericho. And just recently I saw a thing, and it wasn't on, on some TV show, which we'll get into that later, where they think they found Nazareth.
Yeah.
Well, the thing about it is, it turns out to be basically a one pony town and not very big, and but big deal. It still doesn't prove.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying I'm not a mysticist whatsoever, but it doesn't prove Jesus was God. It doesn't mean he was
small one-horse towns exist.
Right. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't prove the miracles, so it really doesn't matter. Even if all the stuff, the only resource we had was the Bible, it still doesn't prove everything else down the road.
Yeah.
So once again, circular reasoning. Though they found a town called Jericho that it's mentioned in the Bible, it's got to be true. Yeah. Once again, ignoring all the nonsense in between.
I think he gets into some of it's historically true.
Right.
So let's see his next bad claim.
Yeah.
And they found colosseums that were in the Bible. So they have proven that these things in the Bible are real. Then they proved that they were 2,000 to 3,000 years old. They gave the amount of years old that these stones had been erected and these buildings were built. So if atheist scientists have proved that the Bible is real, not necessarily on the connection of God is real. They don't believe in God, but they believe that it is a real book. It's a real history.
I mean, isn't that really the? Ain't that really the gist of the whole thing, though? If God isn't real, then the Bible isn't real. Like, the Bible is where all the claims of a God come from. They're the source of the claims.
Right. There might be aspects of the Bible that are true, but once again, with every lie, and I'm not saying that, every fable, every legend, what are legends? Nothing more than exaggerations of maybe real events. Doesn't mean that, Hercules did what he did.
It's an absolute falsehood for him to say that scientists say the Bible is true. That it's not, there's more nuance to it than that. But even so, historians don't even agree that the Bible is historically true.
Right.
So, or not that you can call it a historical source. Just because those places existed in history is irrelevant to whether the claims that the Bible makes are true. And that's really what the problem is.
It's all assertions and presuppositions. To me, this is like talking to Daniel, automatically presuming the Bible's true, God is real, Jesus was resurrected, the miracles were real, on and on, without any evidence, because once again, we'll leave it at there for now.
Okay.
This is too much fun.
Thanks. Moving on.
History book does have stories in it that can be proven through the artifacts they found through archaeology. We have more proof on the Christian side than the atheists do. You can't prove.
Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's just repeating his claim. He's repeating the claim that Christians have more evidence for the truth of the Bible.
No, he didn't say that. He did not say. This is why I wanted you to stop. But he didn't say evidences. He said proofs.
Yeah, right. Well,
and he doesn't realize there's a difference between proof and evidence.
Yeah.
Unless he wants to redefine what proof is, and which isn't uncommon to define. Like kind. Let's define kind into what we need it to be instead of what it really is.
And again, this fallacy that archaeologists agree with him. They do not.
Right, and even use the word once again, historical. Nonsense. Circular reasoning.
All right, I think we're getting in the deep stuff. Let's see.
Yeah, it's called BS.
Prove to me the Big Bang Theory happened. You can't prove to me that evolution is happening. You can't prove any of that. It's all conjecture. It's all
stop.
Just
please pause.
Hypothetical theory.
Evolution is hypothetical theory and conjecture, and that's just absolutely false. That's and this is another case of an apologist who doesn't understand the meaning of the word theory and thinks that it just means that, this is something we think may have happened. Evolution is a proven fact. It's a theory is substantiated. It's a corroborated piece of scientific knowledge. You know, it's not saying something as a theory doesn't mean that it's a guess. A theory is like the highest gold standard for you know, scientific hypotheses. So I don't.
And
He
actually,
just doesn't know what the word means, I guess.
more
Yeah.
theists who are scientists agree, you know, than there are even, you know, atheist, you know, scientists. Just, you know, pure numbers. We're outnumbered. But you know, the same things he's trying to advocate, unless he's going to sit there and say, well, they're wrong and they're not, the, you know, the true Scotsman's, you know, fallacy, you know, sort of thing. So yeah, he's totally out of his depth,
I mean,
out of his league, in my opinion.
Him acknowledging that evolution is a field of science kind of speaks against his previous claim, because those are scientists that don't believe that the Bible is true. The Bible doesn't say that we got here by evolution. So I don't, you know, not that there aren't evolutionists that believe in the Bible, but those two things are separate things.
Right.
Yeah, but we'll let him keep going here, see what else he's got.
Give him some more rope.
All hypothesis. It's all just guessing. We think this happened. Christians don't think that the creation happened. We know it happened. You guys, well, yeah, I mean, it probably did. I mean, we think that this is what happened. We don't know what caused the big explosion. We don't know how something came out of that. Well, if you ever studied explosions and that much heat, a big, huge, massive millions.
Before he gets into his claims about what the Big Bang Theory isn't,
Right.
it isn't an explosion, but
Right.
you know, the thing is here, he says, oh no, you're just guessing about those things, but we know Christianity is true. And it's I mean, this is the opposite of what the truth actually is that anyone who believes in the Bible believes in it in faith alone, and that's really all they have. He points later in his second video to things that are evidence he thinks that they found that prove the Bible's true, but you can guess how that goes. You know, all this stuff about, though, it's just guessing, but we know it. It's completely the opposite, and I think that's obvious, but you know,
right. And he's straw manning, you know, what you know, a theory is. He's straw manning what, you know, like you've already said, that the Big Bang and that was coined by, you know, a Christian to mock
every group of people he's talked about so far. He's straw manned completely.
Right. You know, a better to me, and I've heard this from other people too, a better terminology would be the Great Expanse is what it was. It wasn't an explosion.
And he didn't just straw man these people, though. He's lied about their actual positions. You know, whether he's knowingly doing it or not, I'm not saying, but he has misinformed about everything he said so far.
Right. Tell me you don't understand, you know, what a theory is and what the Big Bang is without telling me you don't understand. What
tell me you're talking out your ass while talking out your ass.
Right. Thank you, Corky. You know, you're making this way too easy, bud.
A mile long explosion would be so hot nothing could come out of it. So even a scientist has to be a complete and total idiot to say that something came out of that. There's no way something came out of that. It's just absolutely impossible. You can't get matter out of an explosion. Living matter. You can get ash. I mean, it's preposterous to me. So, but it's interesting.
So here we have the grand argument from incredulity. It's preposterous to me, so it must not be true. I mean, thanks, buddy.
Right. And also, you know, tell me you don't understand abiogenesis without telling me you don't understand abiogenesis or abiogenesis.
Yeah. Well, not even that. Just he doesn't. He has no idea of what the Big Bang Theory is, of what evolutionary theory is. He has no idea what any of these things are, but because he believes a book says a thing, he's going to go ahead and say, well, all those are false because those are the things that atheists use as points against me, and I don't understand it, so it must not be true.
Right. And to say that life began, you know, at the Big Bang, you know, regardless of how you want to, you know, define it, just shows me that you don't know what abiogenesis is. You know, you're
right.
Me and one big lump. You know, all three of them are connected, which they are to a point, but they're not the same thing. They're separate. You can't have evolution without the life, and the life begins at the abiogenesis, and it's pretty well, we don't know everything, granted, but it's explained well enough that this guy clearly knows nothing about it.
Well, and here's the reason that these kind of videos bother me is because if this guy wanted to run around and saying, well, my religion's true and everything it says is true and just make claims about his God all the live long motherfucking day, I would be okay with that. But the thing is, though, he can't do that. He has to he's not even talking about Christianity. This whole video is him saying everybody else is wrong and not even saying what he believes. It's complete misinformation about science.
Right. Yeah. Straw man's one right after the other, and totally ignorance, period.
Yeah. And Christianity's true. So my argument is that evolution and biology and genetics and history and geology and cosmology, all those things are false because I believe a book that says a thing.
Exactly.
Not a good argument.
Yeah. I thought you hit the button.
Interesting that atheists are Big Bang Theory people, and that's all just fluff. And yet they say the Bible is fake, false, ridiculous, recently some of them admit that it was written thousands of years ago. Some don't. Some say, well, it's always being...
Yeah, before he finishes even going down this road, being an atheist doesn't require that you believe anything about the Big Bang or anything about the Bible, whether it is or isn't. All being an atheist means is that you don't believe in a God. And you can actually be a theist and not believe in the God that you're talking about. It's not just atheists. Atheists, the only thing they have in common is they don't believe in a God. Just because you've heard these arguments doesn't mean that you've built an accurate description of what atheists are. These are just the arguments you've looked at and you don't understand them, so they're not true. Anything else?
Yeah, and not all atheists, believe. Not even say believe. What did I say earlier? Whatever the terminology is, agree that with any of that. There are some atheists that have different. There's ones out there that think aliens did it. Or a multiverse, or on and on and on sort of thing. And once again, he's straw manning position that he does not have it'd be one thing if he studied this, and clearly anybody with an honest opinion about this would say this guy has not studied this. He's went with the what he wants to his position's right, regardless. I had something to say about the last part of what he said. I can't remember what it was, but it's not important. It's the same thing over and over and over again of nonsense.
Rewritten, and it's always this and always that. No, it isn't. I mean, just within the last few years, they've taken out some of the things like gay and lesbian stuff out of there because they say it's offensive. That's why, you don't buy a new Bible, because the new Bible is changed slightly. It hasn't changed much, and it's only because they're omitting things.
So far,
you have to be fucking kidding me.
Yeah, exactly.
You have to be. Don't buy a new Bible because the old one has all the good old fashioned hate in it.
Right. And I remember the last part of the nonsense he said earlier, that the Bible was written 2,000, 3,000 years ago, which isn't true. We have manuscripts. Bibles weren't produced until
pieces of manuscripts.
Yeah, right. They couldn't agree what went in the Bible until it the Council of Nicaea or one of the other ones, where even then they couldn't agree on what the Bible was, what to go in and what doesn't.
I had almost forgot that he made that claim, because his argument against it was, no, it isn't.
Yeah. So it's got to be true. He wins. No, it isn't.
They think you're offensive. But that's not here or there. That's just typical society that we live in now. Because people are offended by anything. They're offended by potatoes. They're offended by Wolverines. I don't know. It's just stupidity what they get offended by now. But
so just because people are offended by a lot of things doesn't mean that something is not offensive. and that it should be recognized as offensive for its hate speech, its lies, its misinformation. I mean, things that are offensive, sometimes that's the right label for them. I know that people get, a little touchy about subjects sometimes, and that's offensive. And personally, the argument of it's offensive doesn't mean anything to me. I could care less. That just means it's challenging your ideas. But whenever you get from offensive to hate, that's where I have a problem.
Right. And if, it seems like, Christians and, get so, I don't know. It just seems like they're so worried about first your sex life, regardless of who and how you do it, so the Sky Wizard Daddy must be a pervert. I mean, he's watching everything and he's so concerned about how you do it and who you do it with, but yet we have free will. That I don't get,
Yeah.
No, Corky.
Right now, but so I'm interested in all this stuff because it's like atheists have absolutely zero, not even a little bit of evidence, and Christians have quite a bit through scientific discovery and archaeology, and yet they say zero evidence. Really? You haven't been watching TV, you haven't been watching YouTube, you haven't been watching the History Channel, because it's all over there. Now, I'm pretty sure that they found the Noah's Ark. If you watch, I've watched scientists talk about the Noah's Ark and then the people that did that Noah Ark recreation in Kentucky. They say it's absolutely impossible. I'll do a video on that and give you some
out to Kentucky
ideas where you can look at that. I mean, it is possible that those animals were on there in 2x2s, some of which they're not taking in account, and scientists they're doing everything they can to make it look bad. And
so I know we let him spit out quite a lot of garbage there before we paused again, but it all fell under the same thing. This is him making claims, not providing evidence. And he says, atheist, haven't you been watching TV or YouTube or
the History Channel,
or the History Channel, because those are the bastions of good information, right? Like, those are not sources. Those are just other people making more claims. Like, he doesn't provide an actual reliable source for anything in this video other than say that the Bible is the source for everything true, whenever nobody agrees with that except for fundamentalists.
Yeah, just like he keeps spewing the same stuff over and over again, and not even changing the wording, but now he's adding more and more, or clumping it in, together even more. And what's funny is, and this is what I've tried to break myself up, because I said, there was no evidence, for God. But if somebody says, hey, I've got personal testimony, to a point, that's evidence, but it sucks as evidence. Yeah. And for him to say that atheists have zero evidence is, the same fallacy.
Sorry.
No, go ahead.
So the thing that I always point to whenever people say, well, you say we don't have evidence, but this is evidence. And I remember a debate between Mike Winger and Matt Dillahunty. And Matt Dillahunty said, yeah, sure, those things are evidence, but are they evidence that speak to the claim being true? Like, is it sufficient evidence to make that claim? And it's not. And that's what we have here. He has, some anecdotal stuff he points to and bad sources and things. It's not that we're saying you don't have any evidence. It's just it's either really bad evidence, or it's not evidence of what you think it is, or it's, it's been, misleading lies most of the time. But unless you have anything else, I'm going to let him finish out here, and then we'll give
just one other thing, though. Everything he has said, I mean, obviously citations definitely needed, but nothing he has said, in this whole video, I mean, first off is in my opinion evidence, but it's definitely not good evidence. But it's assertions and claims and nonsense.
It's mostly claims.
Yeah, I mean, that's it. My opinion. That's it. And then to turn around, and I know we may get into this a little bit later with the comments, but my dad, before, I mean, many years ago, that he just passed about a year and a half ago, always told me, if you watch TV, only believe about 90 or 10% of what you see. If you read a newspaper, believe maybe 50% of what you believe. And if it's on the internet, be very careful. Because it doesn't, just because it's there and it's out there doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
Just
because somebody's saying something that he agrees with, he assumes that means that since it confirms my belief, that confirms it to be true.
Yeah, let's cherry pick the evidence, but is he going to say, unless he is a Bigfoot believer, is he going to say the same channels that he, especially in the comments, because his things was, what was it? The History Channel, A&E, and the TLC was his proofs or his evidence, sort of thing.
Yeah,
so
we'll get there.
Say that since it was on there that he believes in Bigfoot.
Yeah,
they push that. They have it with Expedition Bigfoot, or other
the
things.
History Channel has Ancient Aliens and Expedition Bigfoot and all that stuff. So
the
that
Shroud of Turin,
it's true.
They're saying it's true.
Yeah,
impossible, but it is possible and it is explained. So you can look that up. Just go to the Noah's Ark webpage, I guess, and try to find links there. I'll try to find it and then tell you how to find the video. But it's quite interesting. But these comments are interesting too because they all disagree on the premise of theism and atheism and agnostic and Gnostic. Gnostic is.
And I'm just going to go ahead and stop him there because he doesn't know what any of these words mean. And I love the one source he tries to give is if you want to find out about that, just go to the Noah's Ark webpage and look at the thing there, which isn't at all how you find the Ark encounter.
Well, yeah, even if it's that's the way, but it's like like Ken Ham isn't wrong. It's just oh my God, this guy is just jeez.
So I'll let you go first, and then I'll take the final word. You want it to if you want to sum up the last little bit or whatever, but give me your take on Corky and his claims.
For my whole thing was to expose people, not just Corky, but people that think the same way he does, the same nonsense. And I'm really disappointed in Corky. I thought he would present something, or and then he keeps asserting that atheists have said this, that, and the other. Then why not post those comments so everybody can see exactly what he's talking about, or at least read them? Don't just sit there and say, atheists say this, they say that, and once again, we don't all think and feel and believe the same way.
Yeah,
sort of thing.
So what are my final thoughts on Corky and his channel, Randomized Nonsense? Well, Corky doesn't understand the basics of making an argument. And, so I'm not taking him too seriously. This was just kind of a fun look at his claims and maybe to teach him to do better. Because the things you're missing, Corky, is you don't have any sources here other than you're saying the Bible's true. Your biggest arguments against things was, no, it's not. It's like this. And those are just not backed by history or science or anything else other than your belief that the Bible is true. And that's not enough to convince anyone of anything. So was this just a futile attempt to, yell into the echo chamber? Because atheists aren't even going to take this seriously. I do want to say that it wasn't our first choice to make a response video to Corky and his content. Our first choice was to actually have Corky come here and talk to us. But he told us he had a bad internet connection and that he couldn't do that. And so he said, go ahead and make a response. And Az is going to go over some of that conversation with you now.
Yeah, and hopefully some of this, or most of it, will be still left on his site. I took screenshots. But those of you that do know me, that I can get spicy, I can get heated, I can do, I can pick fights. And so far, most of what was said between me, Corky, and whatever Joe added is still there. I know at least one that's not there. But in the process of me and Joe going through and doing this, he's added 4 or 5. I didn't remember because I kept having to add, the screenshots to, StreamYard so I, can show them. But
Yeah.
the one thing I noticed that, and maybe I said something, and I mean, I should go through and actually read them, one at a time of what I said, but I don't feel I said anything necessarily bad. He turned it into a personal attack, and it seemed like the less and less I responded, or even Joe responded to him, his attacks kind of got a little bit more aggressive. And in the last 1 or 2 of the screenshots for this video, will show you. I'm not even, like I said, I'm not going to read it so much, but pretty much like Joe said, most of his arguments and responses are and I'm not going to even question whether or not sorry about that, Corky has a bad internet connection or not. That's that's irrelevant. But at one point or one time, why didn't it pop up? He said something about doing a email or a written response sort of thing back and forth. I don't do that. Joe could could have had the option to do this, and even here, like the second one down here, because I already asked him if he'd want to come on and have a discussion, and maybe that's the one that I should point out if I can find it. And if you do go there, please be respectful. Don't give him any more attention than he needs, per se. I'm not telling anybody they can't. You do what you do, but really, hopefully he's a nice guy, other than religion, sort of thing. But, by some of the comments here, he's very evasive, deflective. And like I said, I think this is the one where he kept adding sort of thing. The very first one, LOL, that's hilarious and shows your intellectual age. I will not delete or change anything here. And actually, he did delete one, which is, and it's really no big deal, but just pointing out that, yes, you did. There was one in there somewhere. You can go back and scroll if you wanted to, or look at it, that he said he was going to make a 5-minute video directed or for me to watch or whatever it is. And that because of his internet, basically it's going to say 76 minutes, LOL, great, wonderful sort of thing. And then, with Kentucky or with Joe, he, said, I am. And this is, show this. We're in the middle of doing this stream and Joe had to stop for a second and talk to his little girl. And, like 8 minutes ago, 6 minutes or whatever it is, I can't see with these glasses are dirty, I think, but I'm in no way, shape or form threatened or fearful of oppositions. And we never, I don't believe, implied that.
No.
But then the very last one is the one that got me because, he was talking about, just go look at the, the websites. I even called them out about the Ron Wyatt stuff. And actually, Corky, if you're actually watching this, and I know you will, Joe does have a video on the Ron Wyatt stuff. So it wasn't like we were unaware of it, even though you claim you didn't know about it, which is fine. You may not have. But this isn't the first time, atheists have heard this kind of garbage. But the very last one says, I didn't list TV shows, LOL. And actually he did. History Channel, what did I say, A&E, and TLC. But just because you said, no, I didn't list TV shows, you did. And I may look for that one. Now, it don't even matter. Anybody can just go look at it and see for themselves. But then he said he showed a list of evidence found by archaeologists, which I ignored. Well, first, the list is actually in part 2 of his, video to this. And his handwriting sucks. He admits that you can't hardly read it. And really and even if everything on that list is true, it doesn't prove that the Bible is true. It doesn't prove God or any of that sort of thing. And this is like the last one for this video. What evidence do you have that God isn't real? Where he's already admitted earlier in this video several times that atheists have zero evidence. So if he's convinced that we have zero evidence, why is he asking, and once again, like Joe said earlier in this video, or Corky, the burden of proof is on you. atheism isn't a positive claim. For me, it would be, sort of thing. But this isn't what this video is about. And really, you'd ignore it anyway. And it. Sorry for being long, Joe.
Get yourself to a place with an internet connection, and we can have that discussion.
Yeah, really. It makes it a lot easier, than trying to type something out there. And also, and this might actually been for one of your insults towards me or your personal attacks on me on the second part of this, but I did put Burning Man underneath my name just for you. So, there you go.
Yeah.
But I'm done with at least this one for now.
So I guess I'll close it out, and we'll just I'll play the little thing, and then we'll be done. What to say? Well, that's all I got for you guys today on Corky, and we'll be looking at some more of Corky's content, and we're in discussion with him to try and get him to come talk to us if he's able to do such a thing.
Because they don't have McDonald's where he lives, I'm sure.
Yeah,
the free internet.
But Corky's been a decent sport about it. So again, leave him alone. But that being said, I want to give a big thank you to all of my Patreon supporters, all of my channel members, and all of my subscribers. And all the links for that stuff is below. But the best thing you can do is just hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, and that's really all we got for you guys. Have a good one.